The sounds of motorcycles are going to fill this main street in the next few hours. Bike Week is here, but could smoke put a damper on all the fun? What you need to know if you're headed out there this weekend.
After it took months to get off the ground, NASA is now telling us about another delay, this one about getting Shuttle Discovery back on the ground. NASA's stretching out Discovery's final mission, giving the crew more time in space.
This is Discovery's final voyage. It will now last 13 days, so a little bit longer. Discovery will remain at the ISS until Monday, and they will land back home next Wednesday. Now, even though Discovery's return has been delayed, a military launch is still go for today. This mini shuttle, Atlas V, scheduled to lift off at 3:39 this afternoon, and it will lift off from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station.
Now, happening right now, NASA's Glory satellite is set to launch in about 45 seconds from now.
Wow.
Glory has been docked at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California since January 11th, awaiting liftoff.
Yeah, an early morning launch last week was scrubbed because of computer problems. So what's the purpose of this satellite? Well, Glory will study the Earth's climate system, give some insight into how the sun's rays and aerosols affect the Earth's climate. I'm curious, are we going to wait for this liftoff here and try and watch it go off? Because it said 5:09 and we're now at 5:09 and 41 seconds. And how cool would it be if we can just hold on to this live shot and watch it go? Oh, and here we go.
Mission of the Taurus rocket
liftoff
with Glory,
live.
monitoring how changes in Earth's climate may affect our lives.
Vandenberg Air Force Base from California, so that is over in California, but how cool is that? And they're going to study the climate change?
This is part of
Beautiful.
NASA's commitment to, I don't want to say shift away from space travel, but also study climate change.
And exploring their boundaries, doing different things,
Right.
unmanned launches like that. What a beautiful launch.
Right, yeah, looks like
Fantastic
so far so good.
that we caught it live this morning. And thanks for joining us for that. And don't go anywhere, because the time is now 5:10. Something we can relate to, right? Because obviously we're not astronauts or even close to it.
Just people.
But guess what we all
early.
can relate to, Eric, especially for you right now filling in the shift. Being sleepy. Wait until you hear how many people admit to falling asleep at the wheel. The just released survey just ahead.
We weighed in on that survey, too.
Oh, yeah.
And new hope for a Florida family. 4 years after a man vanished in Iran, there is word that he may still be alive. What we are learning this morning about him. But next, it is a star-studded weekend here in Central Florida.
You can rub elbows with some of your heroes. Take a look. We are headed live. This is a live shot right now to Walt Disney World's big ESPN The Weekend with a look behind the scenes. Look at the fun. Hi, Mickey Mouse. We might even find ourselves a star or two. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Local 6 Morning News covering Kissimmee, Daytona Beach, and all of Central Florida. Now, at the top of the newscast, we were telling you about one of the big events going on in Central Florida this weekend. One of them, because there are so many, is ESPN The Weekend over at Disney World.
And this is big. If you like sports, it is huge. Sports royalty from all over the world will join Mickey Mouse for a weekend full of fun family events. Local 6 Morning News.
Can I do it like we're going to be back this far so I can throw it in?
Is live at Disney's Hollywood Studios. This is a live look from backstage at ESPN Sports Zone. Mark, I see a fish.
I see a fish, Mark, and I'm sure it sounds like you're still trying to set up your live shot there. Well, it is live television after all. Mark, take it away.
Like everybody.
Well, I'm out here in front of basically what amounts to one giant portable river or a stream, if that's correct. And also joining me is a bass fishing expert with Dick's Sporting Goods. This is Chuck Devereaux. So Chuck, tell me, what do we have going on here this weekend right out here in front of me?
This is the Dick's Outdoor Bathtub, and what I do is I get up on top of the boat and I'm throwing in here and I'm showing all different types of lures. I show technique. You know, the greatest thing about this thing is they actually get to see the fish strike the lure. They actually see the lure work in the water, and we use all different kinds of lures. You can't imagine how many different kinds of lures. We have a lure called the mouse. That we use to catch lots of big fish. It goes along the top of the water like this, Mick, like this right here, and all of a sudden they go. I just thought I'd let you know. Okay, but I'll be using all different. I won't be using Mickey in here today, but I'll be using the Cinco. I'll use all different kinds of spinnerbaits, crankbaits. I'll show all new rods. You know, guys can come out here if they don't know how to do any type of casting. You know, we do a little flip cast like that right there that we don't throw overhanded. So there's a lot of different ways of catching these fish. And the bathtub, the Dick's Outdoor Bathtub is probably one of the greatest things to teach people how to do the things that we do out on the circuit.
And you know, a lot of people have never done this before. There's lots of large fish out here as well here in this the bass tub, like you said. Now, what if someone's never done this before? Is there any secret to catching a big bass?
Oh yeah, I mean that's exactly what I'm going to be doing up there. I'm going to show them technique. I'm going to show them how to throw that spinnerbait. I'm going to show them throw that worm, how to throw a crawdad, all different types of baits.
Okay, thanks a lot very much, Chuck. Now, again, I'm going to be out here this morning showing you what's going on back out here at Disney Hollywood Studios. Coming up later this morning, we're going to have the Harlem Globetrotters, so that'll be a treat. I'll throw it back to you guys in the studio right now.
Mark, thank you, and we should remind everybody that there are going to be pro athletes out there all weekend long. They're going to be there's a sports zone, so if you think you got an arm,
which I definitely do not, so I won't be doing that.
Well, I said if you think you have an arm.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Don't think I do.
Okay, so keep it here on the Morning News. Coming up at 6:15, we're going to go back out live to the ESPN Sports Zone at Disney and talk to Bob Hitchcock with Disney Sport.
All right, we're going to get to breaking news right now. This is going to be kind of crude and rude because we don't know much, but
the rocket,
2 sentences here,
Right, the rocket that just lifted off that we showed you at 5:09, it was the Glory rocket, NASA's Glory rocket. It took off of Vandenberg Air Force Base out in California. It has failed, according to NASA. Nobody was on board this rocket.
Right.
NASA was sending up essentially a satellite that was supposed to orbit the Earth to study climate change. Well, we just got an email here. It says NASA has announced the rocket has failed in flight. The rocket did not separate the probe properly, the satellite or the probe inside the rocket, and he's not going to make it into orbit. And I just looked this thing up here. This has been years in the making. $434 million
And I was going to say it was on a mission for 3 years to be orbiting. So this is a huge failure, lots of money lost. We'll show you video, get whatever we can coming up after the break. Stay with us.
This Money Matters segment is sponsored locally by Dex One.
Well, there's an improving jobs outlook, but big food problems for local folks.
Yes, and Bloomberg's Jane King has these and a look at other stories from the New York Stock Exchange. Good morning, Jane.
Hello, Eric and Laura. Good morning to it. We're waiting for that monthly jobs report. You know, some call it the most important economic report on the planet here today. We expect it to show the pace of hiring picking up. Now, just yesterday, we saw a slowdown in the pace of people applying for unemployment benefits from the government. So those weekly jobless claims have been falling pretty quickly, actually. So that helps send stocks rallying. In fact, our best day so far this year. No relief, though, in sight on food prices. The International Monetary Fund says it will take farmers years to expand production enough to meet demand and drive down prices that in many cases are at record highs. A report from the Food Research and Action Center says 18% of people had times in the past year when they didn't have enough money to buy food. Unfortunately, the Orlando-Kissimmee area was the 10th hardest hit metro area, with almost a quarter of people saying they've had problems in the past year buying food. That's how it looks on Wall Street this morning. Eric and Laura, back to you.
Real quick, Jane, can we talk some technology? Apparently some new kinds of selling on TV?
Yeah, you know, we're going to see a lot more banners, crawls, and logos on our TV shows. Comcast, Time Warner, and Cox, among other cable and satellite providers, that are introducing technologies that lets them blast viewers with interactive pop-up ads that sell things like DVD sets of Gossip Girl and mutual funds even. And while we're talking about entertainment, let me tell you about Apple offering $100 back to people who bought the original iPad just in the past few weeks, or buyers can exchange their purchase for a new model. And also, Bloomberg told Apple in talks with record companies to make it easier for iTunes customers to access music that they bought across multiple devices. And with permanent backup, that'll help you get back songs if the original downloads are lost or damaged. Of course, the record companies want to maintain demand for their downloads now that internet music services like Pandora are getting more popular.
Appreciate it, Jane. Thanks so much.
And of course, our other big story this morning, the weather, your weekend plans. We got that brush fire. We got the wind moving in. Let's get over to meteorologist Troy Bridges with everything you need to know on this Friday.
6:26, straight ahead, an update on the breaking news we've been following, that Glory rocket launch out of California. You saw live here on the morning news at 5:09. That failed. Luckily, no one was on board, but this is a lot of millions, hundreds of them. We'll have details as we get back.
Plus, in the next few hours, a man accused of impersonating a deputy could walk out of jail. It's one of our big stories right now. Local 6 morning reporter Courtney Hall is live on this. Courtney.
Yeah, you're not going to believe what this guy has been doing in other states, and he could walk out of jail in just a few moments. That's coming up.
A bobcat attacks a woman. sending her to the hospital. Now a neighborhood is on edge, hoping that it doesn't strike again.
How scary, but hey, you want to smile? I know some guy who's got a permanent smile, Mickey Mouse. We're live all morning at Walt Disney World's big ESPN The Weekend with a behind-the-scenes look at the fun. Of course, Mickey's not in this one shot now that I've talked about him, of course. All right, we might even find ourselves a star or two. Go Gators. Hey, I'm a Gator. We'll be back.